Roll call, Miss Tina.
Mayor Roland Dykes, Vice Mayor Mike Profit,
Here.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Here.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Here.
Alderwoman Luana Ollinger,
Here.
Alderman Steve Smith,
Here.
City Attorney Terry Hurst,
Here.
City Administrator James Fincham.
Here.
Okay, now, I'd like to I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Did I hear? Make a motion to accept the minutes. Steve Smith made the motion. Luann, Alderman, second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Hear none, opposed, well, ayes got it. Okay, proclamations in recognition of citizens. The mayor, I believe Luann Ottinger's going to recognize the Newport City School Board.
Thank you. I read an article recently that our school board received the Board of Distinction from the Tennessee School Board Association earlier in July, and from what I understand, that is one of the most prestigious awards that has been awarded to very few school systems in the state of Tennessee. And I think I can speak on behalf of all the council that we are very proud of you, and I wanted to recognize you guys with this certificate.
Appreciate the job y'all are doing. I'll get your picture made with them. Cool. You board members, come on up there and get your picture with them.
The way, bro.
We're going to tell them what to wear next time it looks like.
And they drove home.
Where's Sandy at? Sandy is back there, isn't she? Sandy, you get up here with them. You're the reason for this anyway. Mike, you'll move back, stand back this day up there. All righty. Appreciate the job y'all do.
Are y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job, Luann. I still call me Hurley, but you got married, didn't you? I was about to say that. I still about to say it. Before city administrator has his correspondence report, like every meeting, I always thank the department heads for what you're doing. Thank Mark Robertson for what you're doing. Animal control people, what you're doing. Y'all do a lot of things people don't know about in this town, and I really appreciate you all. Okay, Mr. Fincham, what do you got?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The first thing on my agenda is just to announce and to remind everyone that on Monday, August the 26th, the city will be celebrating the 4th annual Back to the Blue celebration. And certainly we back our police department, and we hope that during this month that everyone will reflect on the job that the law enforcement does and to appreciate the hard job that they have to do. But we will be recognizing them on the 26th. Also, just for the record, we received a letter. You all have a copy of it in your packet from the comptroller approving our budget for the current fiscal year, and the comptroller asked that be announced at the meeting just to go into the record. So that's all we have to do. I just have to announce it and get it in the minutes. I also want to take this opportunity to announce that Thursday or Friday of last week, Gary Carver came to me and informed me that we have been awarded a grant to start back work upon the Riverwalk project again. And so we we're looking forward to try to get that back underway. Now, this does only fund the portion that's already been engineered and planned out. It does not go down or start back from the park to float. This is trying to finish up what we started right here. So we do have some challenges we're going to have to deal with, but I was glad to hear that we've got a grant to try to do that. Gary, I got to tell you, Gary's, I told him today, he's the guru of grant writers. I've seen a lot of people, and I've written grants, and he's the most successful at it I've seen. I've actually had to rein him in a little bit because we've got so many projects lined up now. We got to get a few of them off the board before we take on any more. But he's done a fantastic job applying for grants and getting grants. He's only failed at one, and that was the very first one he applied for, and the only thing that knocked us out of it was not having a letter of support from the state representative, and we didn't know we were expected to have that, or we'd certainly have that in there. But other than that, I have to really commend him on the success he has had with grants, and he's getting a lot done, and he's saving the taxpayers a lot of money. And that's all we got, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Gary, don't do such a good job. Slow down a little bit.
I know it's sad you got to do that.
That don't happen many times, Gary.
No, it don't.
He's young, he can handle it.
And I just want to recognize Tina, too, for the audit report. That it makes a big difference on you keeping us reeled in, too, on what's going on, what we can do and what we can't do and stuff. Appreciate the job you do. All you girls that work in the office, appreciate y'all.
Yes, and the department heads. They make it happen too.
Have we got any appointments of board or commissioners, committee? Not got any? Okay, got a report from the Tanner Preservation Alliance? Colleen?
We are very close to starting construction. We've had some, there's a term for it, but the subcontractors that our general contractor are using has turned in, like the plumbing guys turned over his plan, and it's just basically they're creating a playbook for the whole construction. Asbestos abatement first, and either anticipated start date on that, this kind of this out, would be the 19th or the 26th, so sometime within the next 2 weeks. And they're going to go put up the construction fence and the pre-construction sign and all that. So it's going to look like something's going on up there here before the end of the month, as far as I know. That's where we're at right now.
Okay, I believe we got Miss Love Henderson here for discussion of the Worth Ethics Diploma. So, Miss Love, glad to have you with us.
Okay, I won't be up here long, I promise you. Did everybody get a copy of this? Okay, the work ethic, I came last year, and I think there's maybe some new people here, but I just want to give you an update on the work ethic diploma. Chris Edmonds wrote this grant in 2011, and what the work ethic grant is, and I'm not going to read all that. The first page gives a brief summary of what the work ethic diploma is, okay? And the second page, seniors in high school can earn this. They have to get at least 20 points or more, and if you notice, it's like a job. They have to have good attendance, no tardies to school, no discipline problems. They get points for GPA. They can actually get 5 points for passing the drug screen if they do CTE competition or the Tennessee Promise. You see there's 14 here. Now, I had a young lady last year that had 28 points, and that's with no drug screen. So she really excelled. But that's what they have, and I'm the only one in the county that can sign these kids up. We had 180 students last year, 70 from Cosby and 110 from Cott County. I'm the only one that can put the points in. They have to come see me. I was calling them at home. I was meeting with them after school. I was running into them at Walmart, wherever I could fit them in, because I'm at both high schools, and I travel between the high schools. The next page, and this is just some. This is the industries that's linked to this account. Now, if you wanted your industry, or you wanted somebody, or if you knew of a business that wants to join this, they can go to the workethicdiploma.com website. And you notice we've got Eastern Plating, Phoenix Closures, and American Appliance on here from Cott County. So what it is, once these kids goes and register, they have to put in there what they want to do when they graduate, what they're looking to do. And these businesses can go to that website and find these students to help them with a job. That's what that is. And if you notice on the next page, we're number 1 in this area. We had the most seniors last year to sign up. And what that has done, I've had businesses calling me as far as Merville, Denzo's, anybody ever heard of Denzo? They contacted me about recruiting kids to come work for them next year. And I said, you do realize we're in Cocke County? And she said, you do realize we employ people from Cocke County. So, and it also will bring businesses here. Now, I went from CLB last month, and like I'm going to tell you, the governor bought out the work ethic diploma from Niswonger. It's now under his umbrella. So this is going to eventually be statewide. And not every kid goes on to college. Dave will tell you, I work with Davey Perman. Not every kid goes to college. Not every kid goes to TCAT. So what this is, for graduation, they get to wear a certain cord to show they completed this. And they get a sticker to go on their diploma. Okay, say they don't go on to college or TCAT and they go straight into the workforce. If that sticker is on their diploma, they are guaranteed 5 interviews. If they go on to school and they see that diploma, they're still guaranteed 5 interviews. So it's really a good thing. And I don't just limit it to AB students. I have special ed kids that signs up, CTE, academic, and I've even had some that's brought their papers to me. Hey, look, Miss Henderson, I'm going in the military. You're getting points for that because that's proof they've signed up. So as you can see, it's a good thing. And I just wanted you guys to know, I mean, you've got kids in your district that's graduating just like out in the county. So I wanted to be fair. And if you know of anybody that might want to do this, I've left my email address and Chris Edmonds at the top. They can notify either one of us. So does anybody have any questions?
I appreciate your job you do. I always see the graduation, and I noticed them last year, and our county had more than any other county, I think, in the whole state, and that speaks well for our county. But we've got 4 students here. Would y'all stand up and just a
They're in
minute?
a leadership class.
Well, this is sort of a... When we talk about our students in Cocke County, we're always proud of you. I appreciate you coming. I know what you're doing, and appreciate the job you're doing, okay? Keep up the good work.
Now, this is for both high schools here. I
Right.
have Salisbury and Cocke County.
Right.
So, but we had 110 along just from Cocke County and 70 from the hospitals.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Henderson, for what you're doing. Oh, right. We've got no old business, so the next thing on the new business is consideration of the restructuring of the planning and buildings code.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. As each and every one of you know, one of the toughest challenges that we face in town is blighted buildings and unkept properties. And you've also seen today what our vision and our hope is for our community as far as this public hearing that we've had on this corridor project. And you know, Coach has been coming down, well, Vice Mayor, and putting a lot of extra time in trying to help beautify the community. A lot of you all, well, about each and every one of you all at some point or another has talked to me about a property somewhere or a problem that you see that we need to try to address. And of course, we've been trying to do that, but it does not seem like we've been making a lot of headway. So last month, Chief Schultz and I went to Marshtown and spent about a half a day looking at how that they have their operations set up over there to deal with growth, with blighted properties, and they are very aggressive. The community development director over there told me this is his 3rd year on the job. He told me that the first year he was there, he condemned around about 65 properties and tore them down. The next year he did about 35, and this year so far he's done 12. And he said he has about eliminated the blighted building problem over there. But you have to be aggressive. And I was very impressed with their setup. We'll never, well, not in the foreseeable future, would we ever have the exact same setup they have over there, because Morristown is much larger than us. There's much more area to cover, much more growth, and so we'll never have the staff or the like I say, the facilities that they have over there. But, and I have spoken to each of you about this, so it's not, I want for the record to know that it's not something I'm blindsiding you with. We've all discussed this. But we have to do it in a public forum, and it has to be voted upon. But I have a proposal to try to come up with a way to deal with these problems we're having, and also to help with this growth that we're trying to accomplish. And what I want to do is to take what Morristown has done and for lack of a better way, to follow their example on a smaller scale. You can call it a copycat or whatever you want to, but I think they've got a very, in looking at everything they did, they have got a very efficient setup over there. And I see no reason why we can't do that here on a smaller scale. And here's my proposal and what I'm asking you all today. I'm proposing the restructuring of the planning, building, and codes department. I would like to create the Department of Community Development. And that's what, again, this is all patterned after Morristown. The department would include the positions of planning, building, and codes. I want to create a department-level position of Community Development Director. And I want to put Gary Carver in that position and put him in charge of the newly formed Community Development Department. He will continue to do his duties as the planning director, but if someday down the road it got to a point where we needed both, then we would cross that bridge when we come to it. That's a long way off. But currently he would continue all the duties that he has currently, but he would also take on the supervision of building and codes. Secondly, or thirdly, I guess, that's two things. Thirdly, I want to create the position of codes enforcement officer. In Morristown, they have 2 codes enforcement officers, and they're out on the go all day, every day, dealing with problems over there. And we probably got enough to keep 2 busy, but to be not to cost no more money than we have to. We can definitely keep one busy, and I think that we can, with this system, we can start to really put a dent in these properties and these problems out here. If you all approve this, it will start on August the 19th. That's next Monday. I like to start anytime I've got a new position or start somebody newly hired or whatever. I like to start that on a Monday because it makes it easy to keep up with, makes it easy on all the record keeping if something begins on a Monday. If approved, there would be a 90-day probationary period for Gary in his new position, and also for whomever that we would hire for codes enforcement. Now, obviously the position has yet to have been created for codes enforcement, and that would be something we would advertise, take applications for, and move forward from there. So it would take us a while to get this completely in place and up and running. But the first thing I need is if you all are in agreement, and I know that in the conversations I had with each of you individually, not as a group, so nobody starts thinking we violated the Sunshine Law. I always speak to each one of the council members alone, which I can do. The mayor can do that, I can do that, the mayor and I can meet with council members alone, and that's the way it's supposed to work, and that's what I have done. I've spoken to each one of you individually about this project, and each of you spoke favorably about that, and I hope you hadn't changed your mind. But that's in a nutshell, that's what I want to try to do. It's something that's done other places. Again, they've had much success with it in Morristown. It's worked very well for them. I think it'll work very well for us. And My goal here is not to just make up a job for somebody or give somebody a promotion. It's to try to make us more efficient and get this job done that's been wiring on all of us. I know everybody up there has been bugged about a property or a situation somewhere that hopefully this change would fix. That's the goal. And if not, we'll tweak it or we'll do something different. But I think in looking at Marshtown and the success they've had over there, I think this is the way to go. And this is my recommendation, and I would ask that y'all approve this plan.
Mr. Fincham, thank you for the job you done on that. And Mr. Robinson, thank you for the job. And Gary, thank you for the job. Of all the jobs that anybody's got in this room, that's the hardest job that I have seen or been exposed to. Every town's got them. Every town's got blighted properties. But it seems like we get our share and it seems like you're spinning your wheels. But you know, when you're dealing with people that's not got pride, it's very difficult to get something done. You know that. But anyway, I think you're on the right track, and we need to make a motion to. I make a motion we approve the plan that Mr. Fincham's talked to us about hiring another person to work with. Did I hear?
I second.
Okay, got a motion, and Bobby, or second?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger,
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen, and I think you're going to see some progress with this. We'll
We've
make
needed it for a
every
long
effort to
time.
make it happen.
Okay, the next
And
thing.
ladies, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Still got to get used to it.
next thing on the new business, consideration of allowing the city of Newport to open a new bank account for the Tanner project. Tina, you got it.
The contract with the pre-construction for the Tanner project was signed by Gary, and since it meets a certain threshold, we're required to create, as I understand it, a new bank account, and we're going to put a certain percentage in that account to hold until completion of the project, and that is our retainage. This would be authority to create that account and to put that amount of money in there, which is 5% of the total.
If Tina recommends something, that's gospel, we can take it to the bank.
Yeah, and also, pretty much anytime you have a grant, they want you to have a dedicated account for it, and so that way it's easier for them to track it. And only you all can approve accounts. We can't just do it on our own.
Did I hear a motion, we do this?
I make a motion we approve it.
We got a motion, Tina, Mike Hansel, second. Bobby, okay, roll call.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger,
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith. Yes. Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes. Okay, the next thing on the new business is consideration of amending the City of Newport Police General Orders.
As you all are well aware, the state recently enacted a hands-free law on cellular devices. And so now you must use some sort of a Bluetooth in order to talk on your phone and drive. In the old general orders manual, which is the current manual, but when the manual was first written, there was a rule put in place of no Bluetooth devices while on duty. And now with the state law, we have to use Bluetooth devices. So we need to strike that out of the general orders just to make sure that we're in compliance with state law. And it's just very simple, but that is in there, and you all adopted the general orders, so only you all can modify them.
Do we need to vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did I hear a motion? Steve Smith?
motion.
Okay. Luana made the motion, and Steve Smith seconded.
Yes, sir.
Okay, roll call, Ms. Tina.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger,
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is consider
Question. Steve Hudson, are most of your vehicles, are they set up for that? Are most of your patrol vehicles set up?
All of the, we got 15 of the new ones that are in the factory. The 5 oldest patrol vehicles, we purchased speakers that go in them that make them compatible. And for the other cars, the Texas administration, we bought Bluetooth earpieces for those vehicles.
Thank you.
Need Bluetooth for this, Mr. Fincham?
You might, I don't know.
That'll be in the Smithsonian someday. Okay, the next thing is consideration of allowing the Chamber of Commerce to hold a car show in the city hall parking lot for the street festival.
As you know, just in a couple of months, it'll be the street festival. And the partnership staff's rolled up their sleeves, and we've really worked on street festival to continue some old traditions and bring some new stuff. The staff decided that we would like to bring back the car show that we normally do. But as most of you guys know, we fill that whole 3 blocks, so we sort of need some room if we do have the car show. So we have reached out to a car club and talked to them about kind of overseeing a car club or a car show if we bring it. And we've decided, if you guys will give us permission, we'd like to use the City Hall parking lot at front. After talking to them, we decided that it'll probably be just a one-day event on Saturday, and we're looking about 20 cars to start off.
So y'all to have enough room in, right?
We should, yeah.
Okay. Because you still had so many you couldn't get them in there.
Yeah, and we may do that next year if you guys will let us do it again this year. We may have to expand. We may kind of ease back over here to the side, but we think our projected number will be about 20 cars since we're bringing it back again, just to start off with the first year.
We need to vote on that. Okay. I hear a motion. We allow them to do that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Bobby Knight, second. Mike Hansel made the motion. Okay, roll call, Ms. Tina.
Alderman Mike Hansel,
Yes.
Alderman Bobby Knight,
Yes.
Alderwoman Luana Ottinger,
Yes.
Alderman Steve Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mike Profit.
Yes. Okay, thank you. The next thing on the agenda is consideration of right-of-way request agreement between the City of Newport and Angela Grooms.
First of all, thank you. Plenty of challenges ahead on the new department, but I think it was an excellent idea by Mr. Fincham, and I was honored to be asked to be the head of it. So when do I have to start that, Monday?
19.
Oh, boy. All right.
You've done such a good job on the other, so you can pep up on this one then. Okay?
Yes, absolutely. You've got the visual aid in front of you and the narrative of sort of what Ms. Grooms is asking for. Her property line basically is the building. There's an alley in between that's public property, and then we own the piece of property right next to her to the west. We also own all of her parking spots. She needs to make her building ADA accessible, not only because she has an employee that needs those facilities, but because to get her certificate of occupancy, she would have to bring the building up to code. For her to build, she would either have to build the ramp straight out into one of the parking spots, or in the proposal that is in there, which is going to be taking a strip of grass that we've got and letting her put the ramp on top of the grass. Otherwise, she would have to put in an elevator in the back of the building somehow. And that's probably just not at all cost effective. So she's asked that if she could be given right of way, or if we could do an agreement of right of way so that she could construct her wheelchair ramp into the building that would go on our piece of property, just the width of a ramp. We don't have any specifications. Terry and I will work together to draft the agreement, and we'll still own the property. She'll maintain the ramp, and it'll be there, I guess, as long as the building is. But that's what I'm asking for you to give me the blessing and Terry and I to go forward with that, because if you've noticed, she has been doing construction on the building. She's very close to being finished, and this will be one of the last components of it, because she wants to get in there and get open for business. So we'll be moving on it pretty quick.
Is there any specification Gary, that if something ever happens, she don't do the billing, or don't, if she's not there from now on or something?
We will write that into the agreement.
Okay, because that wouldn't.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
I think it's a good idea, because it's making that look a lot better.
Yeah. She's bringing up, she's putting up her business in a building that was empty. She's bringing it up to ADA code, and she's making facade improvements. It just looks better the way she's done it. So, I mean, that checks 3 boxes as far as I'm concerned. So I would recommend that we do this.
Well, sure.
If any of you had any reservation about how the staff, or any not reservation, but any question about how the staff
Need to
felt
vote
about
on
it.
Okay. I hear a motion, we do this?
I make a motion that we approve.
Auditor made the motion. Here a second.
Second.
Mr. Steve Smith seconded. You instead of having to call the names out, you may just say all in favor. So I think we'd save some time. Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Anybody no? No, no. So we're ready. Okay, the next thing, bids and expenses, consideration of bids for a truck for the fire department.
Coach Robert, we need to make sure that everybody, this is not a fire truck, this is a pickup truck. So
I thought to say we done been through this once for you.
It's a pickup truck for the fire inspector, for Jeremy.
You got the money in your budget.
The money's in the budget, it's all state contract price. Everything's worked out, and should be in front of you if you
All
got
right.
any questions.
Do I hear a motion, we do this?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Mike Hanson made the motion, Bobby Knight seconded.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Ayes, got it. Okay. Thank you for what you do. Okay, we got a comment from citizen, 5 minutes.
I have a comment, sir, around your program.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Most of y'all know me, I'm a board pleasure, a CLB member, I'm also the chairman of the Finance Committee. Last night, we were visited and given a presentation by Lucas Graham of a company called Buxton Analytical. I want to extend an invitation to the city, come sit with us and maybe try to work out a partnership agreement to possibly contract with this company. Lucas, I think, will be coming to you all with a presentation. If he's not, I'll make sure he will. This will be a great thing for both city and county. The city will make out a lot more than the county will, because most of the tax dollars are brought in the city. The proposal they've got will allow us to reach out and market what we have all across the country to thousands of different retail developments and developers and restaurants. And it is a way that Newport and Cott County can actually get their name in the hat, so to speak. The way we discussed it last night, 25, 30 years ago, when a business wanted to locate here, especially on I-40, because that is a really hot piece of real estate, they would just send scouts out or an individual to look and find property and buy it. Today, in the digital era, it's not done that way. They take huge, massive blocks of data, and they send all that out to retailers and developers, and that's how they decide whether they locate here or not. This company has a great product. We've listened to the presentation. We've checked them out. They've been vetted. The cost is not cheap, of course, and I know you all are a lot like us. We're working on a shoestring budget. But I've got a feeling that we're fixing to find a little money that we didn't know we were going to have, city and county both, and it will be enough to cover this for a year. And if it is what it's supposed to be, and we benefit from it, we have the opportunity to continue on, to continue with the contract, and hopefully we will bring some more development into this county. It all goes along with some of your corridor plans, with what we've got going on in parts of Hartford and other areas. We have to find a way to reach out and let these people know we exist, that we're here, and we're worth investing in. And this is the one way we can do it now. I want to invite you all at a later date when we get something a little more in concrete and maybe sit down with the CLB. I know this is kind of not ordinary to have a county commissioner come talk to you all and invite you all to sit down and let's try to make this county and city a little better than it is. I think we've got some great things on the horizon. Between a college wanting to locate here, between some of the industry we're bringing in, some of the investment opportunities that are fixing to locate in Hartford and other areas. This is an exciting time for us. I think we really need to stay on it. We've got to invest in this county and this town. We're not going to make it. But I think we're going to find the money.
Of course, you're still welcome here across the tracks. You come anytime you want to.
I do feel out of place. I think Gary, and I know he's making me a little nervous. But I thank you all for letting me speak. And we will get together. I'll talk to you all as soon as we can.
Forrest, when is this meeting scheduled? Is it scheduled yet?
We haven't
No.
scheduled
Okay.
it yet. I just want to come and make sure you're all receptive. I'm just coming to see you.
Gotcha.
Forrest, thank you for taking the time to come to us. And we need to be seen by our own local people and people outside this area working in a mutual cooperation. I think that
We'll get a lot more done. These two men can dig a hole a lot faster.
Absolutely.
Two individuals. I think we can get something done if we work together.
Thank you for what you're trying to
We spend a
do.
lot of time working apart. If we can get together, we can make some changes. We have a committee now that is more than willing to listen, to help, do what's needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor, Vicki Turner's here.
Right, that's what I was getting her. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm Vicki Wilson Turner. I live at 651 2nd Street. I appreciate y'all giving me a few minutes of your time. I received a note at my home that there was a noise complaint about dogs that were barking. Newport Animal Control did come out to investigate and said all of our dogs were in good health and well cared for, but the only problem was there was too many, according to the ordinance of the city, that there was a restriction of just 4 pets that were allowed at home. A restriction that I wasn't aware of as I started going online and looking at the website and the ordinances. There's a lot of ordinances out there that I wasn't aware of as a city resident. I've lived in Newport for over 35 years. All of my dogs are rescue dogs, so these weren't dogs that were bought, but rather ones that no one else wanted or would care for. One of the dogs that we got had heartworms when we found him. We've had that dog treated, over $1,500 worth to have treated, but he's healthy and he's living a good life now. All of my dogs have excellent health care. As you'll see, there's a copy of a letter from my vet. We've been clients there for over 25 years, and all of our pets have been very well cared for through Appalachian Veterinary. And we spend anywhere from $4,000 a year to $8,000 a year, depending on what's going on and what their health issues are. And that's a lot of money, but that's our choice to take care of them and do what needs to be done. 4 of my dogs have special care needs. I've got one that has diabetes, I've got one that has seizures, I've got one that's deaf and almost 20, which is just about unheard of. And I've got one that's blind. So these add additional cost of care and time consideration as well. We do have a 16 by 20 foot building that the dogs are able to get into, get out of the heat, and it is heated and cooled, and it allows them to get in out of the weather, extreme weather conditions. My dogs don't run loose. We have them in kennels secured on the property. My dogs are content and they get along very well, but they do bark if something or someone comes into the yard or as sirens go by, and it's like flipping a switch. As soon as the sirens get out of earshot, they shut right down. I mean, that's normal with dogs. But these dogs are part of our family. They're like adopted children. Most of these dogs have been at my home for over 8 years. This is the only complaint I've ever had about our dogs barking. I just don't feel it's fair to ask us to get rid of our dogs. And which dogs do you pick to get rid of when we're taking extremely good care of them? They are well sheltered, well cared for, fat as can be. asking the consideration of, we're willing to put up a privacy fence. There's a lot of stray animals or loose animals that come into our yard. On any given night, we'll be outside at 2 in the morning, shooing a dog out of the yard or a stranger out of our yard, because there's a large apartment complex across the street, and they'll walk through our yard trying to access going towards the Cosby Highway. It shortens their walk instead of walking down the street and going down Lincoln. So at any given time, there's something traveling through my yard in the middle of the night which will cause my dogs to bark. So I'm more than willing to put up a privacy fence, and as they pass away, I absolutely agree not to replace them. I wasn't aware of the ordinance. Had I been, I would have never taken them in to begin with. But the fact remains, we've taken these dogs in, and they're cared for, and they're family. The ordinance that I'm questioning is over 25 years old. And a lot changes in 25 years. This country's changed, this city has changed, and animal shelters are full and running over. So we're doing our part. I am the customer service manager at Morristown Utilities, and I oversee policies that affect over 20,000 customers of ours. And regularly, we evaluate and review and revise policies that need to change to meet our customers' needs today in a reasonable manner. And that's what I'm asking is consideration for this. Since this is an old policy, and the only violation that we have is a number of a difference. I am asking that an exception be made to the ordinance to be considered, all these additional factors being involved of well care, well shelter, agreeing to put up a fence and agreeing not to replace as they pass away, or a revision of the ordinance to reword it to allow consideration of those exceptions of the additional fencing, the well care, and things like that to be considered, or even removing the number. I don't know that the other policies that you have in place might cover that number to say you've got animal policies that take into consideration the care of animals, the shelter of animals, if they're violent or not, if they're running at large. So that consideration, I think all of those other ordinances will take care of any issue that you would have versus this one that has a number tied to it. So that's what I'm asking is just consideration of either making an exception to this ordinance with the agreement that I'll put up that fence and I'll make sure that I do not replace an animal as they pass away, or consideration of changing the wording of that consideration to allow these other additional factors to be considered, or possibly removing that number or changing that number. Something that will meet the need of our public today. I'm trying to take care of animals that I can afford to take care of. I'm not asking anyone. I work for a living and I take care of these animals on my own, and I'm fine to do that. But I'm just asking for consideration, as the only fault I have is that I have too many. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Vicki. Is there anybody else that needs to speak or anything? Did I hear a motion the meeting be adjourned?
Yes.
Lou make a motion the meeting be adjourned. Mike seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.